He never expected to see her again. Years ago, he walked away when she had nothing, leaving her abandoned and struggling to survive. But life has a way of changing fortunes, and what he never imagined has happened. His once poor ex is now married to a billionaire. The twist? He runs into her unexpectedly at the mall, completely unaware of the life she's built. And the encounter is anything but ordinary. As he walks past, memories of their past flood back, moments he thought he could forget, mistakes he thought were behind him. She stands there, elegant and confident, a stark reminder that life didn't stop for her. It transformed her. And in that moment, the power dynamic has shifted in ways he never anticipated. Every step, every glance, carries tension that neither of them can ignore. Viewers will feel the shock, the suspense, and the unspoken questions hanging in the air. How did she rise from hardship to wealth? What will happen now that fate has thrown them together? And most importantly, how will he react when he realizes the life he dismissed is now completely beyond his reach? The story is about revenge, growth, and the twists life can deliver when you least expect it. Years ago, she had nothing, no money, no support, just dreams and determination that he never noticed. He remembered her then as fragile, dependent, someone he thought he could control. But those days were long gone. After he left, she fought through endless struggles, juggling jobs, facing rejection, and learning to stand on her own. Every setback only fueled her ambition. Slowly, quietly, she built a life he couldn't have imagined, life filled with opportunity, influence, and the kind of security that had always eluded her. Meanwhile, he had stayed in the same rhythm, believing the world owed him success, never realizing that real strength comes from resilience, not entitlement. That mall encounter wasn't just a random meeting, it was a collision of past regrets and present realities. People walked by, oblivious to the tension radiating between them. As she carried herself with a quiet confidence that made him pause, the questions lingered in the air, unspoken but sharp. How did she manage to rise so far? Did she ever think of him during those lonely years? And why now, after everything? Was he crossing her path again? Every glance hinted at a story untold, and as he watched her, he couldn't shake the feeling that life had just handed him a lesson he was not prepared for. He couldn't believe the transformation. The shy, struggling girl he once knew had become a woman radiating strength and success. Every detail, the designer bag she carried, the effortless way she moved through the crowd, the subtle sparkle of her ring told him she belonged to a world he had never touched. And yet, beneath her elegance, there was something else, an intensity in her eyes that hinted at the pain of the past. The fire that had driven her forward when he had walked away. As he lingered, trying to process what he was seeing, he noticed the subtle interactions around her. A man approached and whispered something, making her smile in a way that suggested both love and partnership. That was when it hit him. She wasn't just wealthy. She had found someone who valued her in ways he never had. The realization gnawed at him, igniting a mix of jealousy, regret, and a strange curiosity about the life he had missed. Meanwhile, she moved through the mall with calm precision, aware of eyes following her, but there were other layers to the story. Friends who had stood by her, rivals she had outmaneuvered, and moments of vulnerability she rarely showed. Every step they took in this unexpected reunion hinted at a past that refused to stay buried, and the tension between what was lost and what could happen next hung in the air like a storm about to break. He felt his heart tighten as she stopped near a cafe. Glancing around as if expecting something or someone, the man at her side, tall and confident, noticed him too, and for a split second, the world seemed to narrow to just the three of them. He wanted to speak, to apologize, to explain the past, but the words caught in his throat. Pride, shame, and a deep fear of rejection tangled inside him, leaving him frozen in place. She turned, her eyes locking onto his, and in that instant, everything they had shared and everything he had thrown away flashed before him. There was no anger in her gaze, only a calm certainty that unsettled him more than any shout or confrontation ever could. Around them, life continued, people laughing, children running, the soft hum of mall music, but for him, time had stopped. He remembered the nights she cried alone, the days she went hungry, the way she had leaned on hope when he abandoned her. Now, seeing her with the man who treated her like a queen, he realized how small his world had become in comparison to hers. The tension was unbearable. Every instinct screamed to intervene, to reclaim a connection he no longer had, but he knew this was no ordinary encounter. Something significant was about to happen, something that could change everything between them forever. And he had no idea whether he was ready for it. Just as he gathered the courage to step forward, a sudden commotion near the entrance drew everyone's attention. Security guards were rushing toward a man who looked familiar, someone from her past, someone he hadn't expected to see here. The man's expression was hostile, his eyes scanning the crowd until they landed on her. In that moment, it became clear that her life, successful and glamorous as it seemed, wasn't entirely free from danger or old enemies. She instinctively moved closer to her husband, her calm exterior giving way to a flicker of tension he had never seen before. The man from her past muttered something under his breath, and though the words were lost in the crowd, the weight behind them was unmistakable. Every instinct told him to intervene, yet he hesitated, caught between his lingering feelings and the sudden, unexpected threat. Suddenly she turned toward him, her gaze sharp and assessing, and for the first time, he noticed a secret. She carried something in her hand, subtle but deliberate. It wasn't just a symbol of wealth or status. It was a tool, a protection, a message that she had anticipated dangers long before he ever imagined. The mall, once a place of ordinary encounters, had transformed into a stage for a confrontation he was unprepared for. The stakes had escalated, the past had collided with the present, and everyone around them seemed oblivious to the tension ready to explode. The tension snapped like a wire. The man from her past lunged forward, but before he could reach her, her husband stepped in with calm authority, blocking him effortlessly. Security quickly moved in, restraining the intruder, and the crowd watched in stunned silence. She exhaled, her hand brushing lightly against her husband's arm, a subtle signal of trust and relief. He stood frozen, heart pounding, realizing in that instant how powerful and self-reliant she had become. She turned toward him, and for the first time, their eyes met without the weight of old grievances, only clarity. "You should have known," she said softly, "that life doesn't wait for anyone." There was no anger, only the quiet strength of someone who had overcome hardship and claimed her place in the world. He felt the sting of regret, the realization that the choices he had made years ago had permanently altered both their lives. But just as he thought the moment had passed, she reached into her bag and pulled out an envelope, handing it to him. "For when you're ready to truly understand," she said. He opened it hesitantly and found photographs, letters, and documents revealing the struggles she had endured, and the secret plans she had executed to rise from nothing to power. In that moment, he understood that not only had she conquered the past, but she had also orchestrated her own justice in ways he could never have anticipated. The mall encounter ended, but the story and the lesson lingered long after. He stood there, holding the envelope, overwhelmed by the depth of her journey. Each letter and photograph painted a picture of resilience, determination, and unshakable courage. The years he had wasted chasing pride and comfort suddenly felt hollow compared to the life she had built from sheer grit. He realized that her success wasn't just about wealth, it was about reclaiming her power, rewriting her story, and proving to herself that she didn't need anyone who had abandoned her. She smiled faintly at him, not with malice, but with quiet closure. The mall, once a place of chance encounters, had become the stage for a reckoning ending to old wounds and a beginning for her own happiness. Her husband gently took her hand, and together they walked away, leaving him to reflect on the choices he had made and the lessons he had ignored as he watched them disappear into the crowd. He understood that some opportunities, once lost, cannot be reclaimed, but growth and self-awareness can still be found. Life had given him a final, unforgettable lesson, that strength comes from perseverance, and true value is earned, not taken. He folded the envelope carefully, a reminder that the past shapes us, but it doesn't define who we are meant to become. The story ended, but its lessons lingered long after.